Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another edition of Office Hours. As always, I'm joined by Flo. How's it going, Flo?
Doing good. Thank you, Matthew. Hello, everyone.
Hello, hello.
Hello.
Hey, Will. If you have a question for us, Will, I'll put a link in the chat where you can join us. Do we think there'll be any teasers this week, Flo?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay. I'm testing my luck. Hey, Sean.
A bit more patience.
Sean has a very general question, but a good one. I'd be curious to get your take on this, Flo. He's asked, what are the 3 biggest hang-ups people run into while developing? He said developing, but I can only assume he means developing in WeWeb. So I'd really be curious to hear your thoughts on this, Flo, because it's actually a very good question, I think.
So the 3 biggest hang-ups. Just to be sure, what do you mean by this? Just want to make sure to answer.
He confirmed. So in WeWeb, so what are the 3 biggest hang-ups people run into while developing in WeWeb? I guess he means the struggling points or the blockers.
The struggles.
I think so, yeah.
So I guess it depends on your profile. So if you are really a beginner and you don't know how basically web developing works, you might find difficult to manage data. So, for example, you get started, you ask AI to give you an interface, so UI. So you have it, and then you need to have consistent data. And sometimes when you start, you need to understand that you need to connect this interface to database and to a backend. And when you get started, this is something that can be confusing at first. So this is the first thing. The second one, if you're not technical again, working with variables could be difficult if you don't know what an object is or an array is. So you need to learn how variables work, so you can then manipulate them easily. So 1, 2, and let's find the third one. A third one then might be to start to productize what you do. What I mean by that is to never do twice the same thing. And to do this, you need to understand what is a component. And so basically you have a component, and then you have multiple instances of that component, and then when you edit that component, all the instances are updated. So this is also something a concept that you need to understand. So I guess that would be my three.
Yeah. I agree. And just to add on to that, I think not necessarily a sticking point, because it's probably a point that users or new users aren't aware of if it's their first kind of technical endeavor, is they don't understand what they're exposing on the front end. So they might pull in data, they might make certain API calls, they're exposing sensitive info, and they're not stuck on it because they don't realize they're doing it, but afterwards it can cause some nasty issues. So I think that's one thing to be aware of. Cool, right. 2 people have joined us in the lobby. We had a few people join us in the past few minutes. So just for anyone who's not aware, you're welcome to join us, and we can share screens, go through a question, or you can put a question in the chat. I'll put a link to the lobby to join us in the chat now. So in the past few minutes, we had 2 people join us. Batik is waiting, so we'll hop over to Batik. Hi, Batik.
Hi, Matthew. Hi, Flo. Can you hear me?
Hi, Batik.
Yes, all good.
Oh, it's nice to see you again. I literally watch all of office hours because it's very useful in the purpose of educational terms, I think. And also, I'm very excited about WeWeb at all because now I am at that point when I can help people in the community. I'm like feeling myself experienced enough, and that's a very good feeling. Yeah.
Amazing.
So, today I generally have a few questions, and the biggest problem is in the work now, I think, because I contacted with Daniel, and he told me that my biggest problem is with WeWeb AI. No, not WeWeb AI. The WeWeb editor, code editor. I just can't save my new code as a new version. There is some kind of a problem with it.
Okay. And so you created a ticket for this?
Yes. So I think the team is working on it right now.
Yeah. Okay. So for those kind of issue, the tech team needs to take a look.
I understand.
In advance, but tell us if they don't find a solution in the coming days. But normally they should definitely take a look and fix it if there's an issue.
Okay. So my question for office hours is, let me show you. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Is there any easy way to recreate this user experience, like when I navigate between pages and have this like cool fade in, fade out visual effect? Because on the deployed version, I have just the static page and the content just changing without any like animation. I know how to animate this with model windows or divs, like full screen divs, but maybe there's some kind of workaround that may be more easy to implement.
I have an idea for this flow, but I don't know if there's a kind of best practices way that you know of.
No, please go on, Matthew.
So I actually did this last week, so it's top of mind. So what you would want to do, Batik, is at least this is how I did it. You could add a section to the page, and across pages you would want it to be a multi-page section, and basically you would want to. It's tough because you want to change the opacity, and you can't do that with display. Okay, so what I think you could do is you could have 2 states on the section. So on the right-hand side, you could create a state, and the state would be bound to a variable called, I don't know, display loader or something.
Okay.
And then the condition would, you need to create a variable called display loader, and you would just bind it to that variable. And then so this would be, I guess, let's say it's displayed in this state. For this state, you would want the opacity to be 1.
So I can make it Boolean or number?
No, a Boolean would be good.
Okay.
And then so in this, let's say this is the display state. At the bottom of this state, you'd want the opacity to be 1, which it will be. So if you go back to the default state for me. because the default's on the right-hand side, sorry.
Okay, yeah.
The default one. Because this will be whenever it's hidden, basically. If you put the opacity at the bottom to 0, and then you're going to need to do a bit of trickery with the CSS to animate it. If you put visibility, semicolon, hidden.
Right.
And now, exactly. And then if you switch to your active state, so the custom state you created, I think we'll just need to change the CSS that's passed into it. So then and then you scroll to the bottom here. If you change it to visible, so instead of hidden, put visible.
Yeah. Okay.
And then make sure the opacity is set to 1, because I think the 0 would have, And so what you'll now want to do is you'll want to have app workflows. So if you go to more at the top.
Yeah, app workflows. Okay.
If you want 2 workflows, one on page load.
And page unload, I suppose.
Exactly, yeah. And so in those 2 workflows, you just want to correctly change the variable. And I think that should do it.
Okay.
I might have another solution.
So on upload, I change it to false.
And on page load.
Yeah.
The trigger of it, yeah.
Okay. Okay.
And then on page unload, you want to change it to true.
Okay.
And I just realized for the section we created, you'll want to actually give it a different color. So maybe give it a name like loader or something, just so we can identify it.
Okay.
And then if you give it a background color, so some kind of, I don't know, dark background color. So it's down there. And so at the very bottom, if you put the position to fixed.
Position.
Should be towards the bottom. Near the very bottom of the layout. So on the right-hand side, if you scroll to the bottom. In advance.
Okay, yeah.
Yes, sorry, yeah. And then put it to fixed. And then put top 0 and left 0.
Top and left.
And then finally, give it a really high z-axis.
Okay.
And I think, sorry, one last thing. I promise this is the very last thing. For the width and the height, we needed to take up the entire screen. So if you go to the width, and let's bind this one. So unfortunately, we don't have the unit type for it, but you can do it in the binding. If you put 100 VW, so basically saying take up the entire available screen width, and you just want to put it inside of apostrophes, exactly. And then for the height, put it to fixed, and then VH for this one.
VH. Wow. Okay.
And I think this should work. You'll need to refresh the page or go between them or something. And I don't think it'll work.
No.
It won't appear correctly in the editor. I think you need to do it.
Okay, I need to deploy it and and test it on the deployed version. Okay, thank you, Matthew, very much. Yeah. Okay.
What was your solution, Flo? Because I'm curious.
To use keyframes. So you could try out just on one text. If you select one text on the page.
Any text?
Any text. Well, something you want a fade-in animation on.
Okay, let's try with this.
Okay, so if you scroll in here, you see you've got keyframes here. And normally you should be able to use AI for this. We used to have a button here, removed it.
Yeah, I think all the buttons removed. From
okay, so you could ask AI just to animate it, to create a keyframe animation on it. Like say that you want the text to fade in when the page loads. I can't see what you're typing in, but we'll see just after.
Okay, I'll try. I'm sorry, but maybe someone is waiting for on the queue, so maybe we can, invite another person, because I think it will take some time.
Okay. Should we can take some questions in the chat and then hop back to you to see if it works?
Yeah, okay.
Okay, cool. Right. Switch back in a second.
A nice introduction to keyframes after.
Yes.
Just to see how it's built, and then how we can modify it manually.
Yes. So John had a good question on Sean's question about the sticking points. He asked, to follow up on Sean's question, how do you see WeWeb AI changing this? And this is related, I guess, to the backend sticking points. And there's things in the works. I will never reveal it. I'll leave that always to you, Flo.
We're absolutely on it.
Yeah.
This is top of my mind. So basically, the three issues I talked about, those are my priority.
Yep. Infant Matthew had a question. I hope that's not a shot at me. He says, if an absolute beginner who is new to tech can start with WeWeb as his first... So can an absolute beginner who is new to tech start with WeWeb as his first no-code tool? Any suggestions to start with another one first, if applicable? So I would definitely say yes. I think now we have the AI. It's a fantastic starting point. As Flo mentioned, there may be sticking points in the back end, but I think it's a fantastic learning experience to go through it because of the, I guess really the flexibility it gives you when you go through that initial learning phase. And then, as Flo mentioned, there's things in the works. So John had a question around the solution I gave to Scrimdale on top of the screen. So the reason I did it that way, John, is just, at least if I understand your question correctly, is that Batik had different sections. So we had a navbar section and a section for the page. And so if you wanted it, at least I think is the way I understood it, Batik wanted it to cover the entire screen. So if you wanted to do it the way I set it up, you would have had to replicate that functionality on both sections. So you'd have to do it on the sidebar section and then the page content section, which just creates a bit of redundancy if you have to do that in multiple places. So that was why I thought it was better just to have a single section and then have that take up the entire screen height and width. We shall switch back to Batik now to see how it's going. Hey, Batik, any progress?
Hey, Matthew. No, I'm trying different approaches because on the first iteration, it just created the ordinary animation with this without using keyframes.
Yeah. Okay, so let's do it manually. I just tried out on my side and it worked, so but let's do it. Let's do it manually. Okay. So
yeah,
what you can do,
okay.
You can select the text, or you can wait a bit longer if you ask for something.
Oh, it's changing something. Okay, let's wait for a while.
Let's wait a bit more. But yeah, keyframes are quite powerful. And the nice thing is that for those kind of things, you don't have to work with states, or you can. But for this use case, to fade in something, you don't have to use a state. Okay, so let's see. Did you add something? Oh, I like it. Can you click play?
I think nothing has happened.
Okay, so Matthew, I don't know if you can move us
further out. Yeah, let me add a bit more can add some padding or reduce the screen size for those.
Super. So we can see this. Okay, super. So you see below you've got the keyframe editor. So if you click on the, okay, so you can close that one, or you can close this one.
Okay.
So you see really at the left, you've got a little icon, a triangle. You can click on it. Yeah. So this is kind of a state. Okay. So it's selected. Now can you click edit? Yes. And you need to go to the opacity. And you need to type in 0 in here. Okay. So now can you click on the other triangle at 100%? Okay, super. And you need to type in 1. Yeah.
Yeah.
So can you hover?
Can I what?
Can you hover those triangles? I just need to check for no description as property sets. Why that? Just change that. Keyframe 2. Okay, can you scroll on the in here? Really at the bottom. Yeah, can you scroll in here? Below. I just need to see the keyframe. Yeah. Duration. 1 second. Okay, give me just 1 second.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. So I've got 1. Because it should be green. Okay. Can you select the text again? Yeah. Can you click on keyframe on the keyframe label? I just want to delete really the label keyframes on the panel. If you click on the label, you can remove it. Not this one. Really the one near the close editor. Really on the
right here.
Yes. If you click on the keyframes label, really on the left of this. No, this one. On the property. You've got all properties on the panel on the right. Yeah, in here.
Right,
if you click on keyframe, yes, not this one, just on in here. You can
reset style.
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely. Okay, super. So now let's try it again. So can you click on the triangle, the first one? In here. Okay, super. Can you go to the opacity? And can you type in 0? I don't know why it's not green in here. And can you do it? Can you add 1 for the other one? If you click here, can you just change this to something else, like 2, like not 2 but 0 and then 1 again? Okay, that's why. So can you? Yes, it's something we need to fix. So now you can change it to 1.
Okay.
Okay, super. And now it's going to work. So if you click play, we should see it.
Yeah. Okay.
That's so nice. Now what you should do is to can you scroll just so we can see the animation settings? Yes, below. So basically in here, I think it would be better to add something like 2000 milliseconds for the duration. And then you don't want it to be infinite. You want it to be played once. So just one time. And I guess that's it. So if you click preview, you should see the animation.
Oh, okay. Yeah, thank you, Flo.
Here you are.
Yeah, I think I'll try both of approaches and choose something that works better for me. And my other question was about, let me show you, was about the functionality of finding variables throughout of my project. For example, when I trying to search, it really shows many workflows in which I just don't have this variable, and I don't know why it works this way. For example, I don't know, a few specific project. It's very simple, and there's not a trace of those variable, which I tried to.
It's not used in any formula on the right hand side. If you click on URL here, for example.
No. I checked all the actions.
All of them?
Yeah. Let me show you one more time. It's oops. So this is variable, and I can find it here, neither here and neither here. So
there's nothing in the on error tab, just by pure chance.
Oh, let me check. No, I think.
No. Okay. It may be a bug then.
Yeah, maybe we need to take a look to the project data. I'm sorry, I can't help you right now, but could you create a ticket so the tech team could take a look to?
Yes. I'll record the short video with a demonstration.
Super.
Super.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. That's all for today.
Super. Thanks so much, Pratik. By the way, I'll put a link to our docs for the animation stuff. If you ever want to explore it more.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Matthew.
No worries. Cool. Right. Thanks so much, Pratik. Right, we shall hop over to Sean. Sean puts questions in the private chat here, but it's pretty, since he's joined us, we can go through it in person. Might be better. Hey, Sean.
Hi, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good. I'm the one who asked the question about the hangups a minute ago.
Yeah, no, I saw it. I thought it was best, since you're in here with us, it's best to go through it all in person. So did we answer your question for the most part?
Yeah, but more on an intermediate level, not the beginner level. Like they're in the interface and they're like, and then all of a sudden they have that aha moment because they've been spending forever on it, and that's the kind of thing.
Okay. And I saw you put a question in the private chat for us, right?
Yeah, I want my clients to kind of edit the database using Airtable, or Google has like those really colorful bubbles now. It's just easier to edit data with drop downs. So I wanted to see if that was easy to do in the interface and to update the database.
So do you want them to edit those data directly on Airtable, or do you want to recreate an admin for them?
No, I want them to edit the spreadsheet inside, like an iframe or whatever in there. I know that potentially could create errors because you're not doing it right, but it's not hundreds of clients where it would be a problem.
Okay. Yes, that's absolutely feasible. Do you have sensitive data? Do you have secure?
No, I don't. I just started with WeWeb.
Okay. Because so you can definitely load those tables in an iframe or something. Yeah. So if you click the share button, I think in Airtable you could have a link, and I guess if you put that within an iframe or an HTML block, if you click add, you can find an HTML element and you can just drag and drop it, paste the content in it, and that should work. Okay. So this is something you could do. But be careful with this. Really make sure to add a notification, at least just to protect the link. I mean, you don't want everyone to be able to access. But I mean, it's for trusted users because.
Yes, for sure. Yeah, everybody's gonna have their own login.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
I'll map the proper spreadsheets to each person. Is that sufficient?
Yeah. Okay. It's not the best, but
not the best?
yeah.
Why is that?
because someone malicious could find the requests within the browser and then kind of make changes.
What's the extra layer of security then for that?
So this is a really good question, and I'm working on it so we can productize this. But basically, you need what we call a proxy. So you need a backend to make the request to Airtable instead. And then, so for example, I don't know if you are using Supabase or Xano or any tool like this.
Supabase, yeah, for some of the data.
Okay. So basically, what you would need is like an edge function calling for your records and then returning them. And so you are sure that this is protected because basically you don't make the request from the browser, so from the interface, from the UI. You are making it from the backend.
Got it.
And so that's why you need an edge function or a Lambda, basically a backend between the interface and your Airtable. And this is how you can secure it the right way.
Okay. And where would I do the edge function? Could I do it in WeWeb, or does it have to be separate?
Not yet.
Not yet. All right.
Working on it, but no. Right now, you need to do it within Supabase or within Xano or basically any backend.
Okay.
So.
And then where does Xano? I really like Xano, but I'm kind of fearful of. I got one client that has like 5 million records. Actually 30 million records. I feel like the pricing is just going to go so much more than Supabase.
Yeah, Xano is more expensive in that regard. Yeah.
Yeah, but in the smaller, like
you can ask them. You can ask them to. I guess if you have that number of records, I guess you can talk to them.
Yeah.
But yeah, basically what you could do is to. Yeah, you can wrap your Airtable within Supabase. I guess they have a native wrapper, but it works well if you don't have too many records in your Airtable. I don't know how big it is. If it's not that big, you can definitely wrap it with a native wrapper within Supabase. So basically, you will see Airtable data within the Supabase table. It's what they call this.
Xano and Supabase, you're saying? So Supabase for all the...
No, just Supabase. And in Supabase, you've got what they call integrations. It's foreign tables. So it's native SQL. And you can wrap your Airtable table with this. So basically, you would have a table. You cannot edit it in Supabase. And you see Airtable data in it. And then you can call those data from the front end with your authentication between those two. So that way it's secured.
Got it. Interesting. That's good. I didn't think about using Xano and Supabase. I mean, a lot of the basic metadata can be in Xano for all the exposing the APIs, but for the just raw client data or raw basic data that has 30 million records, I could have in Supabase. Is that kind of what you're saying too, or another?
Yeah, that would work. I mean, we've seen clients with millions of data in both tools, Xano and Supabase. So both work.
Nice. And then what's the easiest integrations for LLMs? Are going to be OpenAI and Gemini, right? Okay.
So same. Yeah. For this, it's the same. You need to do it from a backend. It's better to secure your calls. You can, for example, in WeWeb, you can use the OpenAI plugin just to get started. Your prompts would be hidden and the secret key too. But the best practice is really to make those requests with a backend, and then you call those endpoints from the web.
Got it. Okay.
Just one thing to note, Sean, and I might be completely off with this one, is that some websites that lock themselves behind authentication, like Airtable does, they sometimes have something that prevents you from displaying it in an iframe. I don't know if you'd encountered that with Airtable. I might be completely wrong. Just something to be aware of, where if you get some kind of error when you try and embed it, it might be because they have something that blocks you from embedding it in iframes, basically for security reasons.
Yeah, it's an iframe breaker JavaScript that's been done, yeah, and I've seen other tools. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I think that they used to have an option to embed tables. I guess embed HTML, I can make a quick change. Yeah, so you've got let me give you the link. Matthew, so you can share it. You can embed views within an iframe.
Okay,
Cool.
good.
I'll put the link for you in the YouTube chat, Sean.
Thank you. And then on your interface, if you can kind of pop over where people get stuck, the intermediate people, pretty much like, I know there's tons of things, but like I'm sure you get
That's pretty much exactly what I'm working on. Yeah. So it's coming. Like everything is coming.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you guys are off to a great start. You really are. I mean, I'm so tired of like going back and forth with developers for basic changes. It's just, I'm like, and I'm technical, so I'm like, all right, I'm doing this myself.
Yeah. Super.
We're here for this. This is our job.
Yes.
Yeah. Any integrations coming you can talk about?
Not yet.
You're the big boss, Flo. My lips are sealed.
All right. The ones on beta are pretty stable.
Sorry, can you say that
ones
again?
in beta are pretty stable because I'll start playing with those. The beta integration.
Is
it like the plugins you mean, Sean?
Yeah, the plugins. Yeah, plugins.
Okay.
That's what I meant.
Yes, they are. Okay. But do you have one in mind in particular?
Yeah, I haven't heard of a couple of them. If you haven't gone over them before, feel free to do it now. Let's see. Extensions. What's the PWA? Is that Progressive Web Apps?
Yes.
Yeah.
So if you're ever curious about any of these, they should all be in our documentation. Some will have more thorough run-throughs than others, depending on their popularity for now. But the PWA I know is one that's covered quite well because it's used so widely. So if you're ever curious about any of these, there should be good documentation on it if you want to have a read up.
Okay. Well, why would you build PWAs with this app, right? Anyway, with WeWeb.
Yes, absolutely.
Is PWA if someone's already built something, or why would you use it if from scratch?
It's more to add certain niceties, like so if you want to add vibrations or push notifications, that kind of thing.
Got it. Okay. Awesome. All right. Well, I'll let the next guy in. I could have a million questions, but
cool. Right. We shall move on. Thanks so much, Sean.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you.
Cool. Right. John has joined us, a regular. We shall hop over to John. He has a few questions. Hey, John. How's it going?
Hey, what's up, y'all? Doing well.
Hey, though.
Super.
So I posted about 2 questions. One of them I do have an open ticket for, so I'm not sure if y'all want to defer that to support or if there's a chance y'all can get your eyes on it and let me know if you have a hypothesis and maybe something I should be doing differently in my development process to eliminate this. And then the other one is a super minor one, just kind of understanding kind of how that loader action is used separately from directing to a page and triggering the loader from that. Basically, I'm just going back and doing a lot of hygiene on my workflows and stuff. So, I guess
Nice.
Can I share that ticket issue with you? Okay, perfect.
Yep.
Let me go and share screen. All right. I see it's live. Okay, so kind of giving some context here really quick. Let's go ahead and close this. So I have one of these pages where you have all these calls. I have since upgraded everything to the new modals. I think this is kosher, so to say. Yeah, so if I click into this one, I felt like this sort of just happened overnight. I didn't actually change anything here. But in this page specifically, let's switch over to the layout.
Oh, you've got an element undefined? Okay.
Yeah, so like I said, this actually appears, where are we? Both in here. I'll open that one second, but then also here. I just basically went back through, admittedly kind of impatient, so I just went in and recreated it all from scratch. But this happened here, and then if I open this one, like it's literally every single row. So like what's funny is the rows were broken in this one, but not in this recreated one. And the header sorter element that I created broke here. So
do you remember how you did this? Because I'm pretty
I most
sure.
likely copied and pasted.
Okay, because I know our CTO struggled to recreate this issue.
Okay.
So he's going to be pleased to see it. So you created a ticket for this one, right?
Yeah, I've got a ticket on sort of these two events. And so this is one, and then the other one, if I switch over here, you'll see that this is a component missing versus
This one
this one is sort of the same thing, but different flavor in my opinion. As you can see, I've gone back and recreated. I just basically pulled these back in. I do have a little bit more details on this, but yeah.
Okay, yeah, those two are different.
Okay.
This one, the element undefined should not happen, really. So this is something we need to fix. So
Okay.
we can roll it back. We can retrieve those elements usually. So if you created the tickets, they should contact you.
Preferably don't roll it back because, like I said, I've recreated it, everything. So, like, I mean, typically what I do is I'll come in here and just literally press space, try to restore, and usually that'll fix it. It doesn't in this case.
Okay.
But like I said, like this is only here to help help y'all troubleshoot.
Okay, super.
I've ultimately recreated the entire thing. It didn't take much, but the fact that this happened out of the blue, kind of concerned me.
Happen again. Okay, super. Thank you very much for this.
It's and then this one,
useful. Okay, this one is different.
So this one actually, like this is this component. It's a custom multi-select filter that I've created. And as you can see, they're working here. I have these on all the other pages, and all of them seem to be just fine. It just, in this case, this one seemed to break. And what kind of stands out to me, what am I doing here? If I switch out to the actual component, last time we chatted, I enabled the developer mode. And one thing I noticed is, like, in this case, you know, this probably is unsurprising here that this doesn't have a name or a library. But even if I click on this known one, this says library unknown, which is kind of concerning because it's coming from this library that is called design library. So again, I've kind of fixed this one, so it's not so much of a problem anymore, but I'd be lying if I said like there isn't like a smidge of like concern that this could just happen out of the blue again.
And this always happens when you copy and paste something, do you think, John?
I mean, I want to say this is the first time I've ever seen component missing. This issue, the element undefined, probably comes up from copying and pasting, and yeah, I'll do that. Like these two tables are effectively the same thing. They're just different parts of a phone call lifecycle. So, you know, they're just being passed in different groupings. This one I can't understand at all. Because like I said, it only broke on this page. If I switch over here to the calls, by the way, these are two separate UIs. One's called the advertiser, one's called publishers. So they have same vocabulary, but they're different. But I mean, you can see these same exact filters. These didn't break. These are properly linked. The only thing I could think of is I had one of those deploys that seemed to hang for a while. And then I just did a hard refresh and it was like deploy successful, so to say. And I wonder if there was something that broke in the build causing this on this page only. But
we need to take a look. We need to take a look at the data and something is kind of corrupted. And we need to definitely take a look. Did you create a ticket for this one too?
Yeah, I've got a ticket. Daniel reached out to me yesterday morning.
Okay, super.
And stuff. But yeah, I mean, I've got these still in the layers list, but I'm keeping them hidden because I've deployed the fixes.
Super. We're going to take a look to it.
And thank you for keeping them there, by the way, so we can debug it when we get around to it.
So the other small question I had for y'all was that little hygiene thing. So I'll use this page as an example. So I actually don't have the action here, but I know there is a page loader, and it's just a really minor thing because I'm trying to make these as elegant as possible so that they kind of fluidly go across the page and don't do any jumping. How should I use this page loader? I'll just go ahead versus this page loader.
So the one you've used at the start is you can use it manually. So if you were to, as an example, if you disable the navigate to for now, so we can just showcase it. Just disable it, we can re-enable it. And then if you put some kind of delay after the page loader, so if you put like, I don't know, a 2000 millisecond delay, and you then put another page loader action after this, and then set it to off. If you put it into preview and click it, you can then, what you expect to happen will happen. You'll see the loader for 2 seconds, then it will disappear. Whereas with the navigation page loader, it's basically an automatic way to trigger the page loader whenever you navigate to. It's just a quality of life thing, so you don't have to manually input it.
Gotcha. Okay. So the place that I use it, I sort of use it on any sort of redirect, I think.
Yeah, this is something you can really see when you deploy it, because with the link section in the editor, it's reloading everything, but you might need to deploy to really have the proper experience with those.
Okay. So would it make sense to disable all page loaders on the navigate to action and use them only sort of manually by bookending my workflows?
Yeah, it depends on your workflows. Yes, if you really want to make sure that the loaders is kind of waiting for your workflows to load, indeed, you should do it manually.
Okay. Cool. All right, cool. Those are the 2 things, y'all. Thanks.
Super. Right. Thanks so much, John. Apologies for the bugs again.
Oh, all good.
Right. Cheers, John. And then we had a question from Tiago related to hiding a scroll bar and then only showing it on hover. So I clarified this one afterwards to make sure he meant the scroll bar. So yeah, he was asking, is there a way to hide the scroll bar in a section that's overflowing and then only display the scroll bar on hover of the section? I was thinking you could just bind the overflow flow, or is there perhaps a better way?
So if you really want to hide the scroll bar, especially for Windows users, because for Mac, I think it's native, this behavior. You see the scroll bar only when you hover it and you are scrolling, but for Windows users, it's not the case. You need to add a global CSS. Let me give it to you. I can find it, I think. Might have that. So this is something that you copy paste at the app level. So you can add some CSS for the whole app. And let me find it. Yeah, I think that's the one now. Yeah, I think that should work. So let me give it to you.
Cool. I will put it in the chat for you, Tiago, and then just to show you how this would all work is I'll share my screen. And so then with that, Tiago, you would just need to click on more at the top of inside your project, click custom code, and in the head here, you would just need to do an opening style tag and then a closing style tag. And then in between it, just paste in that and then press update. And then this will then reflect in your live project. So whenever you press deploy and then visit your app live, it will work there. It won't work in the editor just because whatever you add here will only apply to your live project. So that's just something to note. It will only correctly work in the live project.
So you might need to update a bit this CSS. This is something that you can ask any AI to give you this CSS to really have the proper behavior you want. For example, display the scroll bar only while hovering or those kind of things. But but yeah, I'm pretty sure you're going to find your way with this.
Yes.
Okay.
Super. I think if there's no questions, then we can probably end it now.
Don't be shy. One last one.
One last one. Drum roll.
I cannot tease you yet on what's going on.
No?
I promise.
Come on, Flo. Come on. Cool. Right. I think that's us then. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. We will be here same time again, as we are always, on Tuesday, 6 to 7 p.m. CET. Thank you, Flo, for joining me.
Thank you,
we
man.
shall see